Hey, 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 hey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome to another Bojoul video. We are grateful that you are here. And we're just like excited at how the channel is growing and just your support. I'm very humble, very humble. And I just encourage you to like, subscribe, follow us, share this video, and just continue to grow. It's all about your growth. In this channel is about your growth, your self-care journey. Where you want to go is your business. But we are here to provide tools and tips to help you to reach your destination. Well, to help you through your journey. We always say that self-care is never a destination. It is a journey. Today, I am talking about relationships. How about that? And not the relationship that, we always hear about, just relationship, male, female, whatever, intimate relationship. But today we're talking about relationship as a whole. I want to start by saying that everything in your life, right, is about relationship. Whether you're aware of it or not, everything is relationship. And that is why I don't subscribe to the notion that a person can be by themselves or I don't need anybody. Everybody needs somebody. It's just how we're built. It's how we are made. It's how God made us. He made us social beings. It is what it is. It's in you. Whether you want to accept it or not, we do better, we move better when you have somebody or whatever it is that you're in a relationship that is going to be symbiotic, that's going to work together. And so one of my favorite, before I even begin this conversation, one of my favorite quotes is by John Donne. And he says that no man is an island unto himself. No man. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. You cannot stand alone. Nothing stands alone as much as we want to. And I get it. Sometimes we don't want to be bothered. You don't, and that is not so much what I mean in the idea of not wanting to be bothered or not. It's more of a thing that we do better. And no matter who we are, you always find yourself connected and in relationship with something or someone. Think about it. In this self-care journey, we speak a lot about what we eat, what we put in our bodies. We speak a lot about what we allow into our minds. Whatever you're engaging with, whatever you are having to deal with on a regular basis, right? It's a relationship. You have a relationship with food. We should have a relationship with God. We have a relationship with ourselves. We have a relationship with our jobs. We have a relationship with people, friends, families, partners. However, we have relationships. Every single thing. I challenge you. Challenge me back. Everything is relational. Even if it's just with yourself. And the relationships that you establish, there are relationships that you nurture. It dictates the direction of your life. It really does. When you have let's just take something basic. When you have a bad relationship with food, we abuse it. Whether we're eating too much of it, whether we're eating too little of it, whether we're eating the wrong things with it, whether we get anxiety around food, it's still a relationship. And so laying that all out, I want you to understand that first and foremost, your relationship with God sets the tone for your entire life. Secondly, it's going to be your relationship with yourself. Because your relationship with yourself, right, it sets a tone for every other relationship that you will have thereafter. That's why sometimes it's hard for people to be in relationship, especially intimate relationships with other people, because they have not even really ascertained and set the foundation for the type of relationship they will have with themselves. Think about it. If it's hard for me to love me, if it's hard for me to nurture myself, if it's hard for me to respect myself, if it's hard for me to pamper myself, how in the world will I even see the a way in which I can do that for another person and keep that going? It's like your relationship with yourself it's foundational. You can't treat yourself with disrespect and have such great respect for everybody else. Every discipline affects the next discipline. It's like dominoes. One thing connects to the next. It's very interesting. I studied psychology. That is my field. That's my major, and I find it very interesting that most psychologists agree that the relationship that a young woman has with her father, it dictates how she relates to the man that she will bring into her life, and vice versa. The relationship that a young boy has with his mother, it will dictate and lays the foundation for the relationships that he has with the women in his life. Whether the mother babied him, coddled him, made him independent, he took care of his mother, the mother took care of him, or the daughter was babied by her father, that was his princess. That's the foundation. That's the lens that we see our relationships through. And so I lay that foundation to come back to that relationship that you're having with yourself. Understand that in this self-care journey that we all are on, or we all should be on, that we determine the relationship that we have with every single thing. When it comes to what we eat and we take into our bodies, that relationship with food, or that relationship with our hours or the time that we spend on social media, the time we spend in front of TV and entertainment, all of that time is establishing a relationship with whatever that thing is, and it's going to have a direct effect on your life. I tell you, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is, you will reap what you sow. You will reap what you sow, good or bad. Good or bad. The relationships that we build, the relationships that we set for ourselves, with ourselves, we will reap a harvest of whatever that is. If you spent years and years loving on yourself, prioritizing yourself, putting yourself in a position for other people to respect you, to respect your boundaries, you will reap that harvest. Likewise, if you've spent years and years of your life in default mode, allowing people to walk over you, not really setting personal boundaries, or not really raising or even having a bar at all for yourself, you will reap the reward and the result of that harvest. You will reap that harvest. Relationship is so important. Relationship with yourself is so important because everything is relational. The relationship that we have with our sleep, it affects us. The relationship you have with your children. The relationship you have with exercising your body. the relationship you have, like everything is relational. And so when you set the parameters and you set boundaries and you understand that these relationships are a part of the catalyst that's taking me through the self-care journey, we become more mindful and we start to set things in order. Everything is interconnected. Every single thing is interconnected. As much as we don't want it to be sometimes, it really is. I wanted to mention a few things in the midst of this conversation. That accountability, when you accept things that you do not like without question, right? When you accept things that you don't like in your life, that's a relationship now that you are establishing, that's saying you can do whatever you want to do with me. That's a relationship that you're setting with yourself. Therefore, it's going to be a relationship that you set with others. Being assertive and setting boundaries for yourself, setting boundaries for your life, right? It's not about aggression. It's not about being overbearing, but it's about redefining that relationship that you have with yourself that says, I'm important. I am somebody. You got to know that you're somebody. You got to change the narrative. Other people can come and they can be your cheerleader. Other people can come and they can encourage you. But you have to live this life, and you come face to face with yourself every single day. My mother, she used to tell me, she said, Delcy, you can run from everybody else, but you can never run from yourself. You're in this body. You're trapped in this body. Until our expiration date, you're trapped in this body. So you have to deal and you have to confront yourself. Whether you are real, whether you're fake, whether you carry through on things, whether you're a person of your word or not, you have to deal with you. You have to deal with you. And being accountable for your actions, being accountable in the sense that it comes back to you. When I started to get serious about my life, when I noticed a major shift in the way I thought about myself, I had to be well into my late 20s, 30s, right? And I started to understand that everything and every person that was in my life, I opened the door and I allowed them in. I opened the door. I opened the door for that relationship to ensue, right? And whatever happened thereafter, this is the day I grew up, right? The day I grew up is when I started to take accountability for every single thing that happened in my life. I started to see what part did I play relationally to the outcome in this, whether it was good or whether it was bad. I had a lot of failures and I have had a lot of success. I had to look and say, what part did I play to make it great or to make it horrible or to make it crash? Looking at yourself. That is that relationship that I'm talking about. Is that relationship with you. I don't understand how we so quick to want to get in relationship with other people and you haven't even established a firm, solid relationship with yourself. Many times we find that a lot of people don't even like themselves. You get in a relationship with some people and you realize they got some self-loathing going on. They don't like themselves. How can they treat you with respect? How can they love you? How can they just honor you? You haven't even honored yourself. I used to say, when I would mentor young girls, young women, and they would have these stories and they would have all these narratives of different things that happened to them, and I used to ask them, well, the things that you're expecting somebody to do for you, do you do that for yourself? How about that? Have you ever even done that for yourself? It begs the question. It really does. Every single thing is relational, especially the relationship you have first and foremost with God. And secondly, for the context of this conversation, the relationship you have with yourself. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Are you happy with what you see? Are you happy with the character of that person? Are you happy with the outcome? Are you happy with the fruit of your life? Are you happy with your friendships? Are you happy with your career? Are you happy with how you deal with people? You gotta look at yourself. You have to. There's no way around it. And I think when I really began to take a deep dive and look at myself in a different way, I had to be, like I said, I was probably late 20s, 30, that I really looked like that and started to be like, wow, that was me. It's accountability. You be accountable for it, because guess what? Here's the thing. Here's the catch. When you take accountability for every single thing that's going on in your life, right? You can change it. Here's the thing. If everything that has happened to you in your life that you don't like, that isn't in your control, and you have placed blame outside of yourself, that means you can't change it because it happened outside of you. If somebody did this or somebody allowed this or this happened or that happened or whatever the case may be, you can't change it. You didn't do it. You ain't accountable. You separated. You've resigned from that responsibility of accepting any type of accountability. However, when you accept accountability and responsibility for what you see in your life, good or bad, that means you now have the power to change it. Since it came from you, you got to come from you to put it, shift it into a new direction. And that's the thing I love about accountability and accepting responsibility, is that I may not can change exactly what's going on with me today if I'm not happy with it, but I can definitely shift directions immediately. You understand? See, that's a different relationship now I'm having with myself. Let me tell you something. It's been things that happened to me in my life, and when I change my mind, right? I switched, like how I saw that thing. I switched directions of what was going on in me. I stopped paying attention to the things that didn't serve me, that was making me feel less than who I knew I was. And I shift my direction. All of us, we can do that immediately. I may not see the fruits and the results today, but my direction, my attention, I can change my mind today. You know the things that, honey, I can sit here all day and I can tell you about so many things. I have changed my mind and the direction my life took. It's like when you're on a road and you realize, oh snap, I'm going in the wrong direction. And you turn that car around right then. The moment you turn that car around, you start to head in the opposite direction, but you're kind of still in the same place. You're moving, but it's not like a major difference. If you're in North Carolina and you realize that you need to be going towards California, you're not going to reach California for many, many, many hours, maybe a day or so. But you're going in a different direction. And so that's it in a nutshell. Just understanding that relationship that you have with yourself is going to be the one that set the tone, right? It's going to set the tone for your self-care journey. It really does. Because, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to conclude, I promise you. When you set the tone, right? The way you set the tone for how you relate with yourself, it's going to set the tone for how other people relate with you. You understand? It has to start with you. You can't have this distorted relationship with yourself and then you expect to have these elevated and powerful relationships with others. Those relationships will start and they're going to fizzle out because you are who you are at the core. And it's always going to be revealed. It's always going to be revealed, good or bad. Doesn't have to always be bad, good or bad. But it's up to you to work on you. You establish that relationship with yourself. If you don't like it, get to working. That's what this self-care journey is about, working on you. Once you start working on you from the inside out, eating healthy, exercising, that stuff is easy. That's for the bird. That's nothing. But it's when you struggle with this interpersonal, these inner conflicts that's going on in us, we gotta deal with us. That's the most important relationship. The second most important relationship you'll have in your life. Every single thing, ladies and gentlemen, is relational. And how you deal with those relationships, you start with yourself first, whether it's with food, whether it's with your job, whether it's with your family, whatever your career, start with you. X marks the spot. That's you. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. I am so excited. I'm excited because I feel like just our conversations are growing, and I feel like we're reaching different levels and different layers. It's layers. All of this whole self-care journey is so many layers. It's like every day, I could talk every day on a different subject and always end up back to yourself when it comes to self-care. It's a part of who we are. It's our journey. It's a journey. It's a part of who we are. Whether your self-care is great, your self-care is poor, you got to go on. You're on the journey, whether you want to be or not. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. But I thank you again for joining us. Please like, subscribe, share this video. And we'll be back again with a whole nother conversation, whole nother topic about self-care. And I promise you, everything and anything we talk about, I don't care what the subject is, it's always going to come back to you. You got to be accountable because it's self-care. It's like self-care. We forget about the self and the care. It's the self-care. It's the self and the care. So we always going to come back to you. You never can absolve yourself from the responsibility of where you land in your life as it pertains to this self-care journey. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Bojoul channel. And please remember that self-care is the best care. Later.